Dear Mom, this past week has been a tornado. So many decisions to make, so much ground to cover. My legs have grown new muscles and the soles of my feet are weary and worn, but I got a fire inside me like never before. I'm writing you a letter. And I know people really don't write letters anymore, and I could just call you or email you or anything less complicated than a letter, but I'm writing you a letter. I think it's because I feel so full. And I felt it was important to write you today while I have a moment to rest. The world is changing. And I felt it was important to write it down. I mean, the entire world is changing all around us at once, and I'm changing with it. So I felt I needed to write something, and I wanted to write it to you. I've been thinking about you so much lately. When I dream about freedom, I dream about you. I picture you somewhere with a nice hat on, laughing in some pretty man's face with a drink in your hand. I know you're alive. Somewhere. My friends say it's better to assume that you're gone and move home, but I can't give up hope. Just because Master sold you up the gulf to get rid of his temptation don't mean I have to get rid of you. I have lots of reasons to hope. You know, I still make your cupcakes to calm me down. I think I made 3 batches in the past month. And I realized that it's not the taste of the cupcakes or the busyness of the baking that's so helpful. It's that I feel your presence when I'm doing it. And after 13 months of not being able to see you and living alone and waiting on this vaccine, your presence means so much more to me. It helps me get through. Speaking of hope, I got news, Ma. Anyways, as I'm sure you know, the last few weeks have been the Derek Chauvin trial. I will always remember the date. June 19th, 1865. And I felt like my chest was caving in. I don't think I'll ever forget the date. April 20th, 2021. Massa had just had a baby with his wife the day before, and I'd helped deliver him. In the moment, it was exciting. The baby came out in my arms, and I felt a rush of new life. But later on, when everyone was cleaned up and rested, and I was back in the study finishing the day's task, my heart almost broke. All of a sudden, I couldn't hold anything. My breath was short. I could barely stand. At that moment, I didn't know what was going on. I was scared. But later that evening, I realized what that feeling was. I want a child. I've always wanted a child so badly, but I can't bring a child into this world as a slave. That's what they want, Ma. They want me to make more of us so they can have more arms and legs for picking and pulling, but I won't let them take advantage of me, and I sure won't let them take advantage of my child. So I think it's better to stop up my womb than to raise them in bondage. And that's what I did. I let everyone believe that I can't have children. And it worked. And I accepted it. I knew it was the right thing to do. and I'm still unemployed, so I had all the time in the world to watch the trial. But that's not really true because I've been taking real estate classes online and leading Zoom yoga sessions, and photography gigs are coming back. But I did get to watch almost the whole trial. It felt like my duty, like I was a watchwoman for George Floyd, making sure his gravesite was protected. I honestly didn't think it'd be that hard to watch. I mean, I knew everything that happened. I knew the facts. I'd seen all the videos. I could anticipate the expert testimony that was presented. I thought I'd be cool. But every day, my stomach was in knots. I lit a lot of incense and drank a lot of tea, and that was helpful. But there was this one moment that slit me open. It was when they started replaying the videos. George Floyd was on the ground. Derek Chauvin on his neck. Witness on the stand started crying, and I started crying, and before you know it, I was sobbing uncontrollably. And it was because he called out for his mom. All he wanted was his mom. But when I held that newborn in my arms, it opened something back up in me. And when I fell in the study, it wasn't my heart breaking. It was my heart opening up. I could suddenly feel again how badly I wanted a child of my own. To hold him in my arms and sing her to sleep and fix her hair. And all I could think of was Ronald. He's such a mama's boy. I don't know any other man who calls their mom every day. He loves you so much, and he's always taking care of you. I knew then that he must have called out for you. There were at least 7 minutes before the medics arrived that Ronald was just lying there. The police didn't administer care. They just circled around his body, shielding him from onlookers. He must have felt so alone, not knowing if he'd see any of us again. I'm certain of it, Mom. When the police shot my brother and he was lying on the ground, losing all that blood, not knowing if he'd live or die, I know he called out for you. I know it. So I was sitting there alone in front of the TV, sobbing. And all I could think of was my brother and Black men's love for their mothers and my love for you. Leading up to the end of the trial, I would lie awake at night in bed praying. Not knowing exactly what to pray for, just praying. Asking God anything I could think of. I told myself at one point I would take a vacation before they made the closing arguments. Just a couple days away with no phone, just me and nature. But when they announced that they had finally reached a verdict on April 20th, 2021, I was glued to the TV. Yes, Ma, your daughter is a free woman. Apparently, a Union general and his troops marched into downtown Galveston, stopped at the courthouse and the Negro church, and read a proclamation that read, "Lincoln had freed all the slaves." But I didn't get to see all of that. All I saw was the commotion on the grounds. And a young man rode up to me on a horse in uniform, and he came up to me and said, You're free, ma'am. All slaves in the South are free. And then Charles ran up to me and said, "It's true, Evelyn, it's true." And then he started saying something about how I could stay and work for wages, but my mind was already gone. It was like the Holy Spirit had come down and transported me. It turned my old body into a new one right then and there. And then I felt a rush of adrenaline. Like I was an Avenger, like finally accountability. I wanted to go kickboxing or dance in the streets. But then it hit me. Sending that man to prison isn't gonna solve anything. The system is still in place. Racism is still here. The cops who shot my brother are still out there. So even though so much has changed in the past year, not so much has changed. I left the plantation that night. Right now, a group of us are in Louisiana at a boarding house for Negroes. We're taking a day to rest and restock on our way up to Boston. And I hear that there we have a chance to make something of ourselves. Because you know what, Ma? As long as white folks don't regard us as being human, we'll never truly be free. And until we have some money and land and a job and medical care, we're gonna stay right in the same position we are. And it pushed me somewhere to a different plane almost. The realization that we have to build something new altogether. Reform is not enough. We have to start from the bottom and reimagine how we exist together. Look out for one another, take care of each other. We have to dream something different. And I don't precisely know how to do that, but I'm committed to trying. I started volunteering at my local mutual aid fund, and I know that's not a lot, but it's a start. I don't exactly know where to go from here, but there's no coming back for me. That young man in uniform came up and told me I was free, but he didn't come to help me. He rode off with the rest of his battalion and left us without so much as a handshake. They think they're our saviors, but they don't really care about us. We have to save ourselves. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep right on marching right up north. I'm gonna find me a nice place to live, find me a job that pays well, and I'm gonna find me a nice man, and Lord willing, have a baby, raise a family. I can't wait to see you again, Mom. And I'm so glad you're in my life. And I'm so glad Ronald is alive and well and annoying as ever, but I can't wait to see him again either. I've decided I'm gonna love each of you the best I possibly can, all while envisioning a world and building a community that allows love to flourish. I promise I will never lose hope, Ma. As long as I can breathe, I will love and keep you with me. We're free now, and no one can take that away from us. Years from now, I know I'll still look back on that day. I got a long way ahead, but I will always carry that special day with me. The day everything changed. June 19th, April 20th, the day I got the news. The day I heard the verdict. With all my love, Evelyn. I love you, Yvonne.
It's been too hard living
It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me no, hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go